the stake.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the screencast for a drop overview of Bring Her to the Stake. We're going to be breaking down the second half of the first drop for you today from top to bottom so you can understand what's going on in the track. So as always, let's start with the drums. Soloed out. Here we go. Reverb on the clap, always the move. Really cool flow and vibe there. Now, these drums were just written in with using a drum rack here. Got all my drums. There's the kick drum. There's one of the there's a snare, one of the claps, and the main, and then there's the main clap with the reverb. Moving into the next section, we have Sound Design 1 here, and this has got all the sound design, and I've got Sound Design 1 and I have Sound Design 2, and basically in Sound Design 1, this is where all of the distortion and saturation elements are actually playing here, and I did something that I usually don't do on this track, and that is I kept the low end in this distortion saturation sound design group. Okay, usually I like to separate the sub frequencies into Sound Design 2 or vice versa to keep it separate to have more control, but this in this particular instance in this song, it worked out really good with the dynamics, and I was really happy with the sonic quality and the sound that I was getting from keeping the sub as a whole inside of the distortion group. So this is it right here, soloed out. And then the second half of it, really stupid sounding, really basic, right? But when you play it on the overall aspect of everything, it all really kind of comes together really nicely. And to open this group up here, you've got the actual sub, which is done in Sublab XL. Now they play that with the drum so it makes sense. Now you notice that kick drum kind of comes in there, bun dun dun bun bun dun 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 bun dun dun bun dun bun bun, but there's no 808 that plays there. It's just the kick drum, and it's a really nice play on the flow there. And the next part of this in the Sound Design 1, you've got this sound here, this machine gun bass. Really fucking annoying, and it's just this machine gun bass sample like. Now let's play that with the, when I start to play more of these sound design elements in Sound Design Group 1 together, you're going to start to notice how the distortion characteristics play off of each other. And overall, on the group channel of the Sound Design 1, there is an instance of thermal on here with my patch Wrath of the Gods, which is just this extremely crazy sort of saturation and distortion like setup here, to sort of get these elements to play off of each other in this way. So watch as we add more elements into from Sound Design 1 and watch how the sort of crunch comes together. Here we go. With the low end now. You hear the crunch? Now it's starting to come together. And some of these frequencies will cancel each other out or play over each other or mask each other, and it sounds really good. Now the next sound is this here. So without the thermal on here, without thermal, it still sounds the same, it just doesn't have that extra spice of life. Now with the thermal, now let's play that with the low end and the machine gun bass with the drums here. Now you're going to start seeing it come together. See that? So really nice distortion and saturation characteristics of each of these three elements playing off of each other. Now we're going to move into Sound Design 2. This is like basically the flow section of everything. This is where the screeches come into play here. It's all on the grid, off the grid, played everything in, hand syncopations. So play that with the drums so it makes sense here. And it's just a three-piece combo before we listen to it. Here we've got a harvester screech, which sounds like this. And we've got the turtle screeches, which play in the pop screeches. One to the pan to the right, one pan to the left. right? So that's the 3-piece combo. Now we go ahead and play Sound Design 2 with Sound Design 1 and the drums, and things will start to make sense. The thing that really keeps the whole track interesting is the screeches, right? Because everything else is playing foundational elements and it's setting up the flatbed for the rhythm that the screeches kind of begins to implement throughout the track. That's the main focal point of this, is using these screeches in this creative way to continue to keep the rhythm throughout the song, okay? Moving into the next section here, well, the last section actually, is the chants and vocals. So let's check out the chants. And then the vocals. And that's just me saying kill him. And then I said,
this ain't no place for scrubs.
And then
bring it to the stake.
And then it's the same thing here. So listen for that. And I actually forgot that whole part was there's a lot of like small elements in here that you forget are even in the mix after listening to everything as a whole. So yeah, those are all the different elements making up Bring Her to the Stake on this second half of this first drop here. And if you have any questions about any of the particular patches, we can open them up. I mean, to quickly kind of guide you through like this sound here, I made it in Vital. There's a lot of EQ work going on here to take out some resonancy frequencies or things that would muddy up the mix and really get it to sit in the mix properly. And then I'm really playing with the mid side with the utility here by kind of focusing more on the mid to kind of bring this down the middle, right? And then inside of Vital itself, this is just one oscillator. And I don't even know, this is the most basic sound ever, as a matter of fact. I don't even think that this is the low octave. That's the low octave. But I was playing up here. And it sounded really good with the contrast of the actual deep low bass. So there's actually nothing to this patch at all. All right, and the variation sound here, to round this off here, the variation of this patch is the same thing. It's the same wavetable here, just at a different harmonic stretch, or it's either a different harmonic stretch or a different wavetable position. So yeah, really, really basic, nothing crazy to it. So yeah, that is all that's going on in this second half of this drop here. So if you have any questions, just drop a comment or send a DM and we can talk about it. That was Bring Her to the Stake. Boom.